Well, good morning from the engine room in Encore 5. Today's project is replacing an air manifold. We talked about how air powers a lot of things on this ship, and in particular the toilets, the air horn, and the windshield wipers. And the air manifold is up here. So you can see the stainless steel air manifold, which I rebuilt last year, but it is leaking like crazy, which is why the air compressor runs every couple hours. So we have to loosen the fitting right there, and then once we loosen that fitting, I can take this whole manifold away, and then we will go rebuild it in brass, and hopefully that'll work better. So off to work we go. Okay, so far I've gotten the feeds off, the 5 feed lines that go off to the toilets, etc. Now I have to get that other one, the coupling, off up top there, and then we'll be ready to take the manifold down and off to the plumbing store. So this is the leaking manifold. It was leaking at each one of these joints, probably because I should have used pipe tape instead of just regular Teflon, but you know, rookie mistakes. So off to Ferguson Hardware. I'm gonna replace all this in brass, match this up, and get the proper taping too. So one of the problems with owning a boat, it's kind of like a house, like a home ownership, is you're halfway into one project when something else goes wrong and then you gotta drop everything to do it. So we started working on some varnish yesterday, varnish repair on the brightwork up top, and you know, ended up with this leaky manifold, which is why my compressor's been running so much. So I'm gonna go disappear for a minute, get this end off, and then we're gonna rebuild this whole manifold in PVC, which should not leak and should be able to handle the 60 psi. That's the maximum pressure I'll run the air at throughout the ship. Even though the compressor jacks it up to 100, we have holding tanks in the engine room. I'll go ahead and show you those. And those hold the pressure for me. So there's one tank right there. Looks like a mini torpedo. And then the other one's here a little shorter. So you have a port air tank and a starboard air tank, and one drives all the ship systems and the other drives probably just the horn and wipers. I would bet that this is for all the ship systems, that one there. So anyway, I go to work on the manual, on the manifold. I'll be right back to you. It's handy having the vise here on the ship so we can get things done. I got to document something real quick here. So numbers 1, number 2, 4, 5, and 6 all have the air nipples, and this one's sealed off. That makes space over the light there. We'll leave this for growth in case we ever need extra, which I doubt we ever will, but there we go. All right. And now here we go. All right. So, see, I could have it. All right, so turn this over. It's good to remember. Put that on first. And the bigger one there, okay? And I found I used the wrong tape. You don't want to use Teflon tape. I thought you could, but you really want to use high density tape. So it's kind of a gray color. It also comes in black. or yellow as well, but I think I bought gray from the plumbing supply company, but they were the ones who told me, yeah, you don't want to use regular Teflon. That's a good one. A little tip to know: don't cross the streams, Aegon, and don't use Teflon. Okay, this manifold is trash, and maybe I'll take it apart to keep the fittings just for something else. But all right, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back when all the threads are ready to be put back together, and I've cut PVC. Well, I'm getting ready to prime all the PVC parts. We've already we've taped every one of these in a high density PTFE tape, which is really a bear to get going on the threads because it wants to slip so much. But I want to show you, we were talking about how the water pressure wouldn't stay up on the internal water for the boat. Let me turn the music down a sec here. Okay. Anyway, this was what was bad. It's a flapper valve, check valve. So it has a little flapper inside there, and the #1 pump flapper is just in terrible condition. It's just old, and I think water was bleeding around it. This one might be salvageable, so I'm going to try to clean that up and salvage it and see if we can't have a couple spares in. But we put the new check valves in, I should say Kevin and Phoebe did, and it works great. Now I've got water pressure and it stays where it's supposed to. I pressurized the accumulators. It turns out the butyl bladders were not bad, so we're sallying forth with that. So now it's time to prime all these PVC parts, and then we'll put the manifold together. Okay, so far we're doing good. So this is the old manifold, stainless steel. This is the new manifold, PVC. I got them match up pretty good on the holes, pretty darn close enough that copper plumbing will take care of any slop that's in there. It's not hard, it kind of wiggles around a bunch. But all right, so this is the manifold here, and now I just have to put the adapters on the end here, and then we're ready to put it back in place and see how she works. Okay, the adapter pieces are in place. Now we just start screwing the 1/4 inch adapters into these 1/2 inch PVC pieces, and then we'll take them to the vise, tighten them up, bring them back here, glue them in place. The manifold will be complete. And I just have to put it in place and pray it all works. Just get them started on the threads here, and then we'll take them over to the vise. This one has a little bit of a goofed up thread in there. That helps. Well, it turns out that one is the threads are a little boogered up. So luckily the Admiral is out, Michelle's out running errands, so she's going to run to the plumbing store real quick, and meanwhile I'm going to put these guys on And just give me a sec, so I want to double check exactly which one had the stop nut on it. I think it was number 3 I said. Okay, verified. Number 3 gets the dead end. So we'll just go ahead and glue these puppies up while we wait for Michelle to bring me a good one for number 6. And yes, I am turning them a quarter turn as I put each one on. Okay, got a manifold, pretty good. You know, doesn't have to be exactly perfect for in line, because like I said, all the copper pipes that join up to it are not necessarily in line anyway. But key is I got good seals, and that's really good. Well, thankfully the Admiral was out by the plumbing store where I bought everything, so they were able to scrounge up another coupling for me that was actually correct. So we're all good. We got all 6 ready to go, and so now I just gotta go hang it and power up the air system and see what we got. Good morning. Last night when I went to bed, I was a little dejected because it looked like the new manifold hadn't helped anything. It is installed. Up there you can see the PVC, and it was a bugaboo. It was a bear putting it up there. That fluorescent light is right in the way of everything I need to do. So next time I ever have to do that, I'm going to have to redesign that manifold a little bit. But this morning I got up and the cycle times on the compressor have really improved. So I'm in the middle of a cycle right now and stopwatch is running, but I believe that you know, I'm seeing a very slow leak still indicating up here, but it's really slow. It's slowed down a lot. So what we're gonna do next is I wisely had check valves, not check valves, ball valves at each compressor. I installed them last year so I can isolate the compressors. And so what we're gonna do is the next cycle, when the system pressurizes, I'm gonna close the ball valves, and then we're gonna watch the rate of decay. So now we'll know, is it the check valve at the compressor, or do I have a system leak, or a little of both? But we're gonna nail this out. We're gonna get it done, and we're gonna get this boat humming. And the kids did a great job. I'll show you later on, but Phoebe, being nice and small, was able to get under here, and she replaced the check valves on the well pumps. You can see the well pumps are still pressurized. They're still holding pressure there. So that's fantastic. That means we can go out at anchor and we have ship's water without the well pumps constantly running. And that means the accumulators are working, so we've got water. We definitely have air. I just want it to be better. I want the compressor maybe run maybe twice a day or something like that. And that'll change based on usage, because if you're flushing toilets a lot, then each time you flush, that takes a shot of air. So I'm willing to give it some leeway, but I want the compressors to get a little break now, and I think we're working that way. So we have air, we have water for anchor, and then the only other thing I have to do is test the anchor windlass. That's the winch that raises it up and down. Make sure that's good, and then we're good for some cruising then. So we're getting closer and closer to actually having footage of us at sea. Can you imagine that? Not just working on stuff. So we're getting closer on that. Well, good evening. It's March 29th, Sunday night. Today I don't do anything on the boat. Sundays we save for church, brunch with other cruisers here at the marina, and then kind of get ourselves organized for the coming week. So tomorrow morning we want to finish up with the air systems. Got some good news on that. The manifold is still holding great. We isolated a couple of leaks, and we've extended the cycle time on the compressor to almost 3 hours. Our target is somewhere in the 4 to 6 hour zone. The other thing I'm going to do tomorrow, after doing some research, I'm running it a little bit low. I'm running about 95 psi. I could run that thing up to about 115, 120 psi. That'll get me more volume of air in the air tanks, which of course equates to a longer time in between cycles. So I'm cycling it from about 100, goal is about 110, 115, maybe 120, down to 65, where it triggers again, fills the tanks back up. And all the while, the final regulator that I added last May, I replaced a regulator that was right before the manifold. That keeps the ship at an even 55 psi is what I have it set for, and that runs the toilets and the air horn and the windshield wipers, and that's the pressure you want throughout the ship. I think actually the toilet manufacturer wants it down closer to 50, but I think I'm kind of happy where it is now. I might drop it back a little bit down, and that'll extend us out too. So in looking up a lot of research and of course getting AI involved in it, they're saying if I can get somewhere around that 5 hour, 6 hour in between compressor cycles, that's really good on a boat that's 40 years old with all these air systems that we have here. So that's the goal tomorrow. We're going to do that, and I think we're going to yank out all the diapers that are underneath the engine. They've been there for a couple months, and we're going to replenish those. And then it's time to pack to run to Atlanta. A really close friend of mine is having surgery. I want to be at the hospital for that. And believe it or not, I got ordained as a minister, so I'm doing a wedding on April 3rd. So we're going to do that and go see an air show. Got Easter, and then we'll be back here on the boat to do more projects. So I'll try to post all this up after we do our projects tomorrow, and then that'll be it for the week, because this coming week is going to just be a whirlwind. Anyway, thanks for watching.